Good evening, Frisco ISD taxpayers. Many of us are struggling with the school district's request for a very large increase in our tax rate and a very large debt issuance. We feel that we can fund our schools adequately, and we all agree on the importance of a competitive salary structure for our teachers. But the tax rates do not seem to add up. They seem to be excessive when we calculate actual need. Let's do that now. Let's reverse engineer FISD and see whether the ask equals the need. So for 2017, we're going to go back a year and look at actual audited financial numbers. $580 million paid the district's cost for operating and debt. Well, we had $169 million in non-taxable revenue from interest earnings, etc., and state aid. So what's the net of 580 minus 169? That left us with a $411 million expense we needed to pay for with the tax rate. Well, we know that we had a $30.6 billion certified tax roll. Very blessed with the huge amount of growth and development here in Frisco. We also know that the school district levied a combined tax rate of $1.46. The question is, how much do we actually need to levy in order to pay for $411 million? Well, let's let Microsoft Excel tell us. Let's take the politics out of it and let's just do the math. $1.34 is all we needed to levy. We levied $1.46. That's 12 pennies too much. That resulted in a $35.4 billion overtaxed surplus, which is actually what their financial statements show. This equates to $1,026 per household. We were overtaxed in 2017. Here we are now in 2018. We've grown expenses, we've grown debt. We need to come up with $457 million in revenue from our tax rate. Look what a blessing. We went from $30.6 billion to $35.5 billion in taxable value. Excel, do the math. Take the politics out of it. Tell us the correct tax rate to raise the money to pay what we need. $1.29 total tax rate is all we needed. We had $1.46, so that's a 17-cent surplus in tax rate. That equates to $62 million in overtaxation, or $1,636 per household. Folks, that's the $60 million in surplus that so many of us keep bringing up. It's real. We just duplicated it. And again, there's not politics involved here. This is just math. Now I'm going to move on to 2019, 20, and 21. There's a few things, moving parts that we need to address. Number one, the $17.4 million in additional need the school district would like to fund. Address teacher compensation, classroom opportunities, more programs. The school has done a very detailed job with its committees of determining these needs. And let's assume that all these are justified, and let's try to pay for them, okay? Well, if you look at that, that adds to our operating costs. We know what our debt is. So now we have a $669 million payment to operate and pay debt on our schools. Fortunately, we've got non-tax rate revenue of about $146. By the way, we're dropping this. The state aid, we're dropping by 10% a year. We are going to give Frisco ISD the benefit of the doubt and agree with them that the state is dropping our money. But guess what is increasing? That's right, the tax base here in Frisco. Now we know it's increased by 15% for the last 3 years on average. Let's be conservative and assume it increases by 10% going forward each year. Here we go. Let's do the math. We need $1.34 in 2019 to pay the full freight of ISD. That's a 10-cent That's 10 cents less than what they're proposing. Here's their 2-cent decline. A 2-cent reduction in our tax rate is not justified. We need a 12-cent reduction. And if the proposals are approved by the voters, in 2019, we are on track to generate for our school district $40 million in surplus, or $975 per household. Let's quickly do 2020 and 21. In 2020, we'll need a combined tax rate of $1.28. They wanted taxes at $1.44. That'll give them another $68.7 million in their bank account, sitting there drawing abysmal interest. And finally, 2021. We need a tax rate of $1.23. They'd like to hit us with $1.44. That's 21 cents too much. That's $100 million in surplus that will go into the reserve accounts, or $1,987 per household. In the aggregate, the proposal will generate $307 million in surplus that will sit in a bank account drawing interest. Those funds should be sitting in taxpayers' bank accounts. That equates to $7,119 per household. Folks, let's keep that money in our bank accounts, not the school districts. Let's fully fund our school district, but let's calculate it the smart way. Let's take politics out of it. Let's say no and vote against the tax and debt plan. And let's fund our schools correctly going forward. Thank you.